Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. I've been working with a locksmith. They're out in Colorado, and in less than 1 month, I've improved their share of local voice for the keyword locksmith from 6.61% to 12.4%. That's an 88% improvement in share of local voice. And we're still growing, which is going to lead to more phone calls for their business, website clicks, and form submissions too. So I'm using Local Falcon. I use this for all of my local SEO clients, and I do a baseline scan initially. So someone reaches out to me for, let's say, a free SEO audit or just wants me to work on their account. I do the initial scan, and then I use this as the report moving forward to show the progress for how they're doing. So they are the red line. I also look at their competitors too, but I'm really focused on them. I can get their share of local voice, which means position 1, 2, or 3, which is a page one of Google listing, into more of a higher percentage. That's going to give them the best opportunity to get more phone calls for their business. So here's their map on December 24th versus January 14th. So it's just a side by side comparison. But when I'm doing local SEO for them and for my other clients too, I'm really focused on the map. So I'm always looking at those dots 4, 5, and 6 because those are the ones that are just outside of page one of Google. That's what I'm most focused on. If I can get those dots flipped, and there's a lot of things that I do to kind of flip the dots. I'm going to talk about that at the end of this report. But I really study this map and say I'm looking for opportunities, more dots to flip onto page one of Google. That's going to give them more phone calls for the keyword locksmith. So I went into their Google My Business account and I pulled out the Google My Business data, put into a pivot table, all that stuff. The term locksmith is heavily searched, shows their business. But what I noticed was that when they reached out to me in December, they said that, hey, we're getting all these impressions for our keywords, but we're not getting a lot of phone calls. So what I noticed was that when I went into their account, the majority, 58% of their people viewed their account comes from a map search. So the problem with that is that means you're not on page one of Google via regular search. Someone has to click on the maps section on Google or click on more businesses. When you're looking at just map results, you're going to be looking at 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, etc. Companies all competing for that one click. So what happens is that if someone's searching for a locksmith and they go, they look at the first couple and then they click on map search, if your position, let's say like 35, you're still getting that view, even though no one really saw your account because it just loads all the accounts together. So when I noticed that, again, the term locksmith, heavily searched term, my hypothesis is that because I saw their map only at 6% or so for share of local voice, the majority of their impressions are coming from a map search. And therefore, they're not getting that phone call. We have to get more dots onto page one of Google to give them the best opportunity to get that phone call. So what was done? There's so much more than this. I'm just going to highlight how I've been working with them and how I focus on basically the same blueprint for all of my clients. Starts off with a heat map scan, and I reduce the radius size. So sometimes people will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I service a 20-mile radius." I do the initial scan. You have a share of local voice of less than 5%. So if that's the case, I'm going to always resize the map and go from 10 miles, let's say, or 20 miles to 10 miles, or 10 miles to 5 miles. I'm really looking for where's the opportunity where your business address is, and I want to expand from there. Never start off too big. Start small and then expand. Second, I use the competitor report in Local Falcon. So I look at those trend lines that I mentioned earlier in this report. I'm looking to see who's ranking for the keyword locksmith in the same area, and I'm looking for gaps. Gaps could be things like how often they post, reviews, secondary categories, etc. Next, I got the client listed on a trusted directory. So I'm always looking for ways to improve NAP, which is name, address, and phone number. It's very critical. It's not the most critical thing, but it's still very important to go after for local SEO. Don't worry about building page authority or domain authority. Worry about getting listed on relevant sites that can help explain that you are a local business. Next, I embedded their Google Map across every page on their website. I talk about this all the time. It's very important to create that connection. Next, I rewrote their Google My Business description. I created some new FAQs. I updated their updates section. So I did a lot of continuous updates to their Google My Business account, just completely rewrote everything. Next, I changed the service areas. So again, sometimes when companies will reach out to me, it's just too big of a radius that they cover. They say they do all like the big cities. I start off very small and then I expand. So if I can flip the dots in certain areas, those are the towns I'm really going to focus on in the service areas. You have up to 20 to list. Next, I've been making SEO changes to the website. So this is pretty vague. But what I've been doing is I use a tool called Sitebulb. I crawl the website so I know all the pages, and then I use Google Analytics. I create monthly reports using a pivot table so I know exactly what are the most important pages from a landing page perspective. Those pages then are what I'm going to focus on from SEO via keyword rankings. So I will then track the keywords on a daily basis within SEMrush. And then I'm looking to see, okay, what's the search volume? Where are they currently ranking? What changes do we need to make to the page? Changes could be things like title tags, using ClearScope to rewrite the content, adding photos. There's even so much more too. Again, this is just in 1 month. And then of course it just repeats. You do the heat map scans again, and you're looking for more areas to flip. So really, all the main summary right here is that it might not look like a big change, just the keyword locksmith going from 6.61% to 12.4, but it actually is very massive. It basically was 100% flip almost in just 1 month. I know that there's competitors here. I can see all their lines: the light pink, the green, the purple, the yellow. I know there's more opportunity for us to flip. I'm looking for ways to keep improving the share of local voice, because if I can get this keyword alone, just the word locksmith, on more places in this 6 mile radius that they're going to be on page one of Google for, that's going to lead to more phone calls directly for their business, more qualified website clicks, and also form submissions too, because they're on page one. Anyway, I hope you guys found this video to be helpful. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out. If you have a local business and you're struggling to get more phone calls, hopefully these tips were helpful. If you need any help, feel free to go to my website, tmblast.com, fill out the contact form. Happy to take a look. Anyway, thanks again, and stay tuned for the next video.